Don't hibernate this winter. Get out and play at Mountain Creek and Crystal Springs Resort in nearby Vernon, New Jersey. Your favorite winter resort is now even better with new hotels, pampering amenities, and attractions for every taste. So whatever your definition of winter fun is, we are waiting for you. Mountain Creek and Crystal Springs Resort, New Jersey's winter playground. Book your close-to-home winter escape today.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Good evening and welcome to Vernon Vibes. This evening's program is going to deal with an ongoing issue that I have had, frankly, with the manner in which the New Jersey Herald reports the information about Vernon Township's government and the manner in which they have comported themselves in this most recent controversy in regard to the Vernon Vibes, in regard to the supposedly release of too much information. On Thursday morning of last week, after receiving the requested documents via Oprah from the Vernon Municipal Clerk, the clerk was sent an email from former Mayor Sally Rinker indicating that she had a document which displayed our employees' Social Security number and other personal information that, of course, is extremely important in terms of the privacy issues and, of course, the prevention of identity theft. That email was immediately followed by phone calls from Mrs. Rinker to the president of the DPW's union and to the president of the Vernon PBA to inform them that their township had violated their secrecy and privacy. And also she followed with phone calls to the New Jersey Herald to, in fact, make this information known publicly. There's been 3 newspaper articles concerning this issue, and before I get into them, I want to say this to the employees of Vernon and the people of Vernon. Vernon Township's government takes this situation very seriously, and we in fact have taken the actions necessary to protect the privacy of our employees. Every employee in Vernon Township will be provided at the township expense a LifeLock Ultimate program, which will help to alleviate any questions concerning identity theft and privacy issues. However, that program is going to in fact cost the taxpayers approximately $20,000 a year for the next 5 years. And so while there are many, many issues that are wrapped up in this entire situation, I want to show the public so that they can see for themselves what the document that is being talked about was and how it looked when it left Vernon Township. This is a list of the employees of Vernon Township, and in fact it is 4 pages long. You can clearly see that the information on the document that was requested was in fact hidden or redacted. Why am I bringing this up? Because there have been all kinds of comments from the New Jersey Herald, including the headline of their first article, which says, "Vernon releases too much information." Vernon did not release too much information. Vernon sent the document in the way that it should have been. The issue becomes, what was the method of redaction, and how is it that the people who received it actually came to see the information? Now, I'm not a computer genius by any stretch of the imagination, but here's one thing that I do know, and I found out very, very quickly on Friday morning following this article being published, and that is that by New Jersey state statute, if an individual makes an Oprah request and that request comes to that individual with redacted information, and the person receiving it knows that the information should be redacted, as obviously the former mayor did, and obviously Mr. Woloski did, they are compelled to either destroy it or return it immediately. They did not do either of those things. They chose to make this into a big public political issue. They have the right, there's no question. However, there are statutes and laws that apply here. My dissatisfaction with the manner in which this has been presented by the New Jersey Herald relates directly to the fact that they were indeed named. And I'm going to share with you why they were named. I'm going to quote from their own article, if I may. Jesse Woloski, this is on Friday, March 22nd, another recipient of the document, assessed his private email account at the offices of the New Jersey Herald on Thursday afternoon, intending to show how the information was, a reporter, how the information was hidden. When the document opened on the reporter's computer, using a program different than the one Woloski had on his computer, the redacted information, which was outlined in black, was clearly visible. Obviously, the document had been opened on Mr. Woloski's computer. And the fact of the matter is that the action taken by Municipal Attorney Kevin Kelly was not interested in seeking financial anything from the Herald or any of the other people. The three major requests that were made were that those people be restrained from distributing any further any of the information, and that it be done via a court order. Judge Gannon saw fit not to, in fact, grant that restraining order for whatever his reasons are. And Vernon Township is scheduled to go before him to argue as to why that restraining order wasn't given. The issue, I believe, of the privacy of the employees, the 119 employees of Vernon, should have been foremost in the judge's mind. However, based on what he wrote, he seems to feel that since Vernon didn't, I believe the quote was, use enough security in disseminating this information, somehow or another, there was no reason to protect the identity, privacy, and the potential for identity theft on an emergent basis. That remains to be dealt with. And when we come back, we'll talk some more about it.
Don't hibernate this winter. Get out and play at Mountain Creek and Crystal Springs Resort in nearby Vernon, New Jersey. Your favorite winter resort is now even better with new hotels, pampering amenities, and attractions for every taste. So whatever your definition of winter fun is, we are waiting for you. Mountain Creek and Crystal Springs Resort, New Jersey's winter playground. Book your close-to-home winter escape today.
Welcome back. I'd like to move on, if I may, to the follow-up article concerning this situation that appeared on Sunday in the New Jersey Herald, in which, after the action had been begun in the Superior Court Friday afternoon, the New Jersey Herald saw fit in their article to, in fact, quote their executive editor and general manager and their publisher. That's highly uncommon and unusual for a newspaper to be quoting its own employees, unless they have a vested interest. Frankly, with the behavior of the reporter that covers Vernon and the kinds of stories that he has written over his tenure here, with the acknowledgement and approval of the editorial staff, I am very uncomfortable about my private information being on the computer of the New Jersey Herald. And beyond that, the question I ask is, not only of the Herald, but of all the people involved, do you have a security system that would prevent a hacker from going into your computer right now and taking that information out? Because certainly, with the kind of publicity that the New Jersey Herald has given to this issue, they have opened up the possibility for hackers who make a profession, or I should say a career, out of stealing this kind of information and selling it, it certainly seems to me like someone should have understood that the priority for the legal system and for the people that live or work in Vernon Township should have been to protect them. The argument as to who's at fault remains to be adjudicated. But certainly, I think it is fair for the employees in Vernon Township and the people in Vernon Township to understand that if the recipients of this document had in fact behaved as they are required to by law, the issue would have been moot. Had it not been for the zeal of the former mayor to do something to embarrass the government and to embarrass the mayor, she's made a lifetime activity of it over the past 2 years, and that's fine. But the fact of the matter remains, whether or not there was a mistake made in town hall or not, the law is very, very clear. It wasn't followed, and therefore, to protect our people, as I said earlier, Vernon Township will be supplying Ultimate LifeLock to 119 employees, and we will be doing it for an extended period of time. That one action on the part of the former mayor, I believe, clearly demonstrates a disregard for the people in this town and the employees that work here. She has been very, very clear that her stance as the president of the Vernon Taxpayers Association is that she's concerned about your taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last 2 years, this year and last year, your property taxes for local purposes are going down. We've talked about it repeatedly. Just out of curiosity, did you see that reported in the New Jersey Herald? It was on page 8. Front page for controversy, page 8 for things that are positive. I'll leave to the people at the New Jersey Herald to explain the whys and wherefore of their word crafting, of their reporter who in fact misquotes, misstates, and therefore colors the opinion of people in this community as to what really is happening here. Why do I make that statement? The very first line in this morning's article in the New Jersey Herald, after our town council meeting last evening, which I reported to the council that we had in fact taken steps to protect our people, starts with, Mayor Vic Marotta outlined Monday night steps the township is taking to safeguard employee privacy after Social Security numbers and other confidential information was mistakenly disclosed. It wasn't mistakenly disclosed. It was sent just the way you see it here. What happened when it got into the hands of the recipients is unknown to me. I've certainly read their comments. It remains to be seen. The question that I have, who was it disseminated to besides the New Jersey Herald? And what safeguard do we have to believe that? Further in today's article, Bruce Tomlinson, the editor, is again quoted saying, the newspaper is confounded as to why Vernon would take legal action against members of the public who received sensitive information mistakenly sent to them by the township itself. It was not mistakenly sent. It was sent as required by Oprah law, and it was sent in a format that obviously could easily be unredacted. That's what it seems to have happened. But the statements being made by the editor and the reporter beg the truth. And the only way that we have to let you, the people of Vernon, know that is this show. We'll talk more when we come back.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Welcome back. I want to close on this issue by indicating that your government takes this situation very seriously. And while the political advocates of Sally Rinker and her friends would like to, and apparently the New Jersey Herald, would like to try this situation in the newspapers, making comments like frivolous lawsuit and libelous statements. The truth of the matter is, in my opinion, had Vernon Township not taken quick and effective action to seek a restraining order from any further dissemination of this information, we would have been performing malfeasance in our offices. And I say to you, the people of Vernon, I will always stand to try and protect your interests and the interests of the people who work in this building. It is quite apparent that in this particular situation, the former mayor, words don't match deeds. I am absolutely certain that my comments on this show this evening will upset and disturb people, and everyone will have something to say about it. I will say this to you. I will not and have not discussed anything about this lawsuit, as I am advised by counsel not to. I am relating and remarking about the kinds of articles that were written about this situation, and the kinds of articles that have been written about many, many other situations in Vernon Township. Why the New Jersey Herald chooses to editorialize and to write articles the way they do is only known to them. But to take it away from simply the town government, how many of you are aware that your school board, in fact, this year struck a budget that will allow their taxes also to be reduced on your property? Not one word that I could find in the New Jersey Herald about it. Yet, when a lawsuit was recently filed against the school board, there it was, right on the front page. Years ago, as a matter of fact, as recently as 2010, when the lawsuit brought by Councilman Carson against other members of the town council and individuals, Vernon Township was on the front pages day after day after day. Prior to that, in 2009, when there was an attempt, in fact, to avoid following the election laws, and I took it upon myself to see to it that the township did it correctly, again, front page news. However, when you see things like the kinds of grants that we have, the kinds of contracts that we have struck, the kinds of improvements that we have made in terms of constituent services here in the town hall, and our ability to do what we've done without, but rather reducing your property tax, nary a word. I question the motive. I'll leave that to the New Jersey Herald. I am sure that they will contend that they're simply reporting the news. I contend that they are not reporting the news by any stretch of the imagination, and it's the roots of and the reason for Vernon Vibes existing. I'll be back in a minute.
Don't hibernate this winter. Get out and play at Mountain Creek and Crystal Springs Resort in nearby Vernon, New Jersey. Your favorite winter resort is now even better with new hotels, pampering amenities, and attractions for every taste. So whatever your definition of winter fun is, we are waiting for you. Mountain Creek and Crystal Springs Resort, New Jersey's winter playground. Book your close-to-home winter escape today.
Welcome back. Last night's council meeting, the meeting of March 25th, there was as usual, a tremendous amount of work that was done by the town council, and I'd like to take a minute to report on it to you. First and foremost, the council approved the contract for this year's senior luncheon, and so to all of my senior citizens friends, I want to let you know that our luncheon this year will go on as planned, and your council voted unanimously for that to happen. As we get closer to the date, I'll be talking more about it with more information, but I'm pleased to announce that, in fact, we will be doing the senior luncheon again in 2013. The council also approved the acceptance excuse me, of the 2013 Municipal Alliance grant and signed that, and directed me to sign that agreement with the County of Sussex. The Municipal Alliance committee has been around for many, many years. It concerns itself with strategies of communication with youngsters and young people about drug abuse, and the tenets of what the MAC has to achieve are very well defined and spelled out. Excuse me, and spelled out, and in fact are one of our more successful, I think, programs, because our MAC committee is in fact paralleled with our PAL program, where we have many, many youngsters participating in programs and the opportunity to communicate with them in a non-threatening, non-lecturing atmosphere about the perils and problems of drug abuse. In addition, our town planner was appointed as the administrative agent excuse me, for monitoring and compliance with COA, Council on Affordable Housing. And if you've been following this issue, the Council on Affordable Housing is reorganizing itself and at the state level. And of course, that means that Vernon Township will be communicating with them dramatically in the near future, particularly in light of the role that the COA funds will play in the funding of the senior housing project that's scheduled to come before our Land Use Board in the very near future. I've spoken about that on many occasions, and as things happen and occur, I certainly will be bringing you the why, the wherefore, and the when in future Vernon Vibe programs. In addition, a contract was approved for Vital Communications, which is in fact a computer software company that Vernon Township has used for many, many years in terms of our tax collection and tax assessing, and now the fees for the sewer for the Vernon MUA. And one that I'm particularly pleased with was a approval for the purchase of 2 new thermal imaging cameras, one for Vernon and one for McAfee Fire Department. They're thermal imaging cameras, in fact, bought before 2000, no longer were functional. We were able to, in fact, buy a $15,000 piece of equipment at a almost $5,700 savings on both by going out for request for proposal and locating from a supplier sample models that had never been used, but rather had been used to demonstrate. And so a very important piece of safety equipment for our fire companies will be in their hands in short order. And lastly, an award was given for a training session for rapid intervention training for all of our fire departments. It's a very important part of their training. It's required, and of course, as always, our township supports having the best that we can in equipment and the best that we can in education for our fire and ambulance people. There also was a reading of a first ordinance which granted municipal historic designation to many properties in Vernon Township, specifically cemeteries. And it is the first reading. There will be a public hearing on it. Those with an interest in historical Vernon might very well want to attend the meeting when we have our second reading and public comment. And the last order of business last evening was a very important one. I believe that we've talked about this in the past, but let me review with you that for the past almost 16 months, the Vernon Land Use Board has been looking at the zoning of the town center. It was brought about, predicated by several things. Number one, the original zoning for the town center was a hodgepodge of 5 very small zoning areas, and was written under the anticipation of the town center being approved as a redevelopment zone by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Those ordinances were drafted, I believe, in 2004 and approved in 2005. We are now 8 years down the road, and the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs has not approved the Vernon Town Center as a redevelopment zone. And to be candid with you, that doesn't really upset me, and I'm going to share with you why. I'm sure that there are lots of thoughts about what was planned, what could have, what should have. Looking at what we inherited upon taking office here in Vernon, it became quite clear to this mayor and to your council that Vernon Township had already spent more than enough money on building infrastructure for the anticipated town center, in the millions. And this mayor did not think that it was good business or good judgment to make it a redevelopment zone where the town was going to offer tax incentives to businesses to come and locate in that area of town. Particularly when I was very clear about what I wanted to achieve when I ran for this office, which was to increase the commercial tax ratables in Vernon Township, to bring a better balance and to take some of the burden off of the homeowner, the residencies, and put it in the commercial area. So the need for tax incentives to bring people into what ultimately will become a very, very vibrant and active business center for Vernon Township just didn't seem to make sense. That being the case, after discussions with councilmen, the Land Use Board was asked by myself and Councilman Rizzuto to take up the issue of zoning in the town center. The Land Use Board worked very diligently, and over the period of their review and working with our professionals, our planner, our engineer, we came to take, I believe, the very best that was in the original zone and keep it and combined it, including the architectural themes and the other aspects that were part of the original planning. The modifications that were made were very simple, and that was that what once made up 5 mini town center zones is now 1 town center zone. Now, last evening there was an individual who felt that that was not a good idea because then the Land Use Board could grant variances if they chose to do so, but if it was a redevelopment zone, it would take an ordinance. I can't think of anything that speaks to being anti-business than throwing another hurdle and another roadblock in front of people who want to invest in this town. And further, I cannot believe that the thought process is that our Land Use Board would do anything that would in any way denigrate or jeopardize Vernon Township. I have been part of this government on many occasions over the last 35 years and sat on the Land Use Board when it was the Planning Board and was involved in the master plan adoption that kept Vernon open and green. We all understand that our most precious commodity is the natural beauty of Vernon Township after our people. And so all I can say is this. That ordinance on second reading after public discussion was adopted by the town council on a 4-to-1 vote, and you will be seeing some applications coming forward in the new town center as a result of it. I'm proud of the work that the Land Use Board did, and I'm pleased that the majority of the town council saw the value in moving our business plan forward in terms of developing the town center to the benefit of the people in Vernon. Thank you.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.